that he spend 4 hours a week independently watching film. Murray's been really vocal about leaning on his instinct over tape watching, but of course mandating him to do it has people talking, including his head coach Cliff Kingsbury.
I don't get in on the negotiations. Honestly, my entire role in that was prayer and pleading to both parties, and it worked out really well for me. But that's, that's negotiation side of it, and I handle the football side. When I watch what he's done since he got here, the first year, and his development in all areas, all he's done is gotten dramatically better each and every year, and that's what I judge it by. And there's a handful of quarterbacks that you can win a Super Bowl with in this league, and we feel like he's one of them, and I wouldn't want to work with anybody else.
All right, we're joined now by a man who somehow found a way to win a Super Bowl without being forced to study any film. Ryan Clark joining us now, RC. When you heard about Kyler Murray's study clause, your thoughts were?
My thoughts were that this is a bad look for both the team and Kyler Murray. I mean, if you're the team, you're looking at a guy, and what you're telling the rest of the players that are on your roster, that we can know that you don't take your job totally seriously, or that you don't really prepare in the manner that we want you to, and we will still give you $160 million guaranteed. It also says to some of the other players on the team, if I'm a safety that was a player like I was that studied film the entire night, that did hours and hours of treatment, now knowing that Kyler Murray doesn't care the way I do, how do I react when he makes a mental mistake in the game? And this is very difficult for me as an African American, as a black player, to have this narrative put out about a black quarterback that he doesn't do the work, that he doesn't put the effort into the job that he should, that he doesn't show the gratefulness for being in the less than 1% that he is. And so for Kyler Murray, this needs to change. But I feel like having something like this in the contract that you actually signed is a terrible look. And I truly wonder who has now made this public, because this isn't something that you want the world to know.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing for both sides. There's mentions of video games in this clause. It has you wondering where's the you have to eat all your veggies clause when that's going to be.
I had this same conversation with Jordan when he was in the 4th grade. Yeah, so I know how this works.
Thank you. I do that. I barter with my kids. I'm like, if you do this, I'll let you get a little bit of time with the Switch. Real quickly, who did you spend the most time studying for?
Who did I spend the most time studying for? Tom Brady, and it never worked.
Okay, yeah.
Studied my butt off.
Have to pull up the record.
Yeah, I thought I knew it backwards and forwards, and then he still come out and hit us for 40.
Yeah, still dunk on you. Sure.
But
our other big
he also did not need an addendum in his contract to study for 4 hours.
Yeah. In all fairness, maybe he's just a different type. He says that he's a study guy. Kyler Murray has been clear that he is not. Our other big story of the day that I need you to weigh in on, because we'd be remiss to not talk to you about it. Aaron Rodgers cosplaying as Nick Cage from Con Air. RC, listen, what is this?
This is beautiful, because you know what irony is, L. Duncan? Irony is listening to a song and dancing on a plane to a song made by a group of people or a band that died on a plane. Yes, that is a quote from Con Air specifically. And when I looked at Aaron Rodgers, I thought about it because it is beautiful. This is what rich, bored people do. Yeah. When you're rich and you're bored in the off season, you think about these things. You know why? Because he wasn't hanging out this summer with his actress fiance looking at jungle cats. So he's had a lot of time to think. He got a new tattoo and obviously now a new uniform to walk into Green Bay Packers camp in.
And based on that video, he's been doing a lot of chest day. Ryan Clark, every day is chest day. You're on SportsCenter, he's coming back. Golly. I'm just saying. A lot of pecs. More quarterback talk with RC ahead. He'll give us his pick for who should take the first snaps of the post-Big Ben era in Pittsburgh. We go to MLB with some breaking news. This just in, all-star rookie outfielder Julio Rodriguez back in the Seattle Mariners lineup for Tuesday night's game against the Texas Rangers after missing the last 4 games with a bruised left wrist. He underwent an MRI on Saturday that showed bruising but no structural damage. Of course, a lot of people fell in love with Julio Rodriguez in the home run derby. He was nasty. Speaking of which, winner of the home run derby, baseball's trade deadline just a week away, which means the combo around Juan Soto is heating up after the National Star reportedly turned down almost $450 million to stay in D.C. for the better part of 2 decades. Washington's taking calls, and no doubt their potential trade partner will likely dominate MLB news over the next few days. No one expects that you have to sit there and wait. That's what our baseball insider Jeff Passan is for. Jeff, from what you're hearing, What would it take to nab Juan Soto in a trade?
Only the largest trade package in the history of Major League Baseball. I mean, that's all.
NBD.
Nothing. And yeah, I mean, it's just, Juan Soto's only maybe the best hitter in baseball. And accordingly, Mike Rizzo, the Nationals general manager, is asking for a ton. This is not just a couple of big league guys or a couple of prospects. No, what teams are being asked by the Washington Nationals is for 5, 6, sometimes more players. And we're talking tippy-top prospects to the point where only a handful of teams really have enough that they might consider giving up to go out and get Juan Soto. It's why St. Louis and San Diego have emerged as the favorites. It's why a team like the New York Yankees can be in there because they have an Anthony Volpe, a Jason Dominguez, a Trey Sweeney, as well as some major league talent. It's going to cost a lot, to the point where one general manager was telling me the ask right now, frankly, is too prohibitive to actually go out and consummate a deal. The question among major league general managers is the price going to go down between now and the August 2nd trade deadline? If not, we may not see a deal now. This may have just ultimately been not posturing, but gathering information for a potential offseason deal.
This could potentially be a huge, big, white whale type of trade. We're seeing the same exact thing in the NBA with Kevin Durant, only when it comes to baseball, there is an imminent deadline ahead, as again, that trade deadline is just a week away. Remember that Jeff has a comprehensive trade deadline story up right now on ESPN+. He gets into more of the details about Soto and many other players as well. Thank you, Jeff. For more on that Nats young star and if he's worth the price of admission, we get it over to Mike and Tony for today's PTI bonus segment.
All right, Wilbon, is Juan Soto worth a $500 million contract?
It depends on the team. I mean, if you're the Washington Nationals, it doesn't look like it, Tony. And it's not just Soto. There's history. If you're the Dodgers, yeah. If you're the Yankees, yeah. If you're the Mets, yeah. If you're the Angels, yes. Those are the teams that do this regularly. There are other teams, Red Sox, they're teams with big pockets, deep pockets they can have. The Cubs, they don't make that move. The teams I mentioned first do. But, Tony, Bryce Harper left at $330 million. So that's more than $25 million or so a year. Anthony Rendon, $245 million. That's more like $30 million a year. Gone. Max Scherzer, shorter contract. He's older, 3 years, $130 million, $40 million a year. The Nationals don't do that. So it's not worth it for them, for Soto, but it's going to be worth it for somebody. It entirely depends on what your owner thinks a player is worth and how much money he's willing to spend.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with anything you said. I'm not going to bother to do that. If the question is he worth $500 million? At my age, I just find the number astonishing. You and I are old enough to remember when I think it was Kirby Puckett who got the first contract worth $3 million a year. $3 million a year. So let's say it was a 5-year deal. Let's just say. So that's $15 million. Juan Soto would not bend down to pick up $15 million. $500 million, it's extraordinary. He turned down $440 million. That's generational wealth for everybody in his family for the rest of time. So it's just hard for me to pull the trigger on the notion that anyone is worth $500 million. It's just hard. He's a great player.
He is.
Scott Boras, who may or may not be the devil, Scott Boras could bring him to free agency, and maybe he could get that. Maybe get $500 million because he's that great a player. But worth it's just such a hard concept for me.
If the Nationals,
I bring so much baggage to it.
If the Nationals are for sale, if they are, why not Boras?
Yeah.
I mean, hasn't Boras taken Harper, Rendon, and Scherzer away from you?
Yeah, but he's kept Strasburg, who's pitched like 4 innings in the last 3 years. Again, back to the notion of worth. Maybe it's easier for somebody young to say, sure, somebody's worth that kind of money. Yeah. It's so much money, Mike.
It is.
You start out in the newspapers.
A lot of money.
It's so much money to you.